Welcome back to this special edition of The Big Picture. Several family members of the victims were on hand at the 514 Memorial to remember their loved ones. Attorney Terrence Connors represents some of the family members and offered an update on where things stand in their quest for justice. We have an opportunity to talk to Attorney Terry Connors, who has been representing the family for, well, I guess really from day one in this situation. So we're happy to get a chance to get an update from Terry right here. Would you give us an update on what's happening with this case?
Well, Judge, first of all, it's so difficult to realize that this has been 1 year. It's so different, but we've been working very hard. We are close to finalizing the litigation, but we're waiting for a number of things. We're waiting to see if the governor will pass the Grieving Families Act. We think that's an important aspect of it. We're also looking into the various aspects of holding everyone accountable for what happened here a year ago. And so we'll continue to do our research, and we'll be ready to go in fairly soon order.
What would the Grieving Families Act do as far as your case goes?
Judge, the wrongful death statute is 175 years old. All it allows for is pecuniary loss. Just what is the person worth from a dollar standpoint? This new Grieving Families Act will allow us to look into the grief, what the families really suffered, the loss of nurture, the loss of companionship, all of the things that mean so much more than just the dollars. So that's what we're hoping will occur prior to the time we file our lawsuit.
And how are the families holding up? May you have an opportunity to talk to them, like even today during this grievous day?
What a remarkable group of people that I'm proud to represent. All they think about is how they can make things better. They're looking to try to see if there's some opportunity to improve the east part of Buffalo, looking to opportunity to advocate for those who are underprivileged here. It's just a remarkable, talented group.
Thank you so much, Mr. Connors.
You're welcome, Judge. Take care.
Connors is one of several attorneys, including John Elmore and others, who are fighting for justice. We'll continue to follow their progress on their legal journey. I also had the honor to talk with Zenita Everhart. Zenita is the mother of one of the survivors, her son, Zaire Goodman. Because the memorial service also fell on Mother's Day, Zenita commented on the significance of that, along with her thoughts.
We're so excited that we have a chance to talk to you in person and find out how you're feeling after this year has gone by.
You know what? It's been a very trying year, right? It's been transformational for me, for Zaire. Every day for us, it's like it happened the day before, right? It doesn't even really feel like it's been a year. But when I think about it, literally at this moment, 1 year ago today, I was sitting on a hospital floor room crying my eyes out because I didn't know if my son was dead or alive, right? And so, I'm humbled by that right now because my kid is here, he's walking around here through this parking lot somewhere. And it's Mother's Day. And so I get to celebrate being a mom still. How amazing is that?
It is. And how are you working with the community, which I know you are, during the last year?
Yeah, so it's just been my mission, right? Traveling back and forth to Washington, testifying before Congress, meetings at the White House, talking about gun reform, but also talking about domestic terrorism and how we're gonna fix communities like the east side of Buffalo, right? That's been my mission over the last year, is that we have to truly start dealing with the issues that are plaguing the east side of Buffalo because the east side of Buffalo isn't unique, right? There are cities that have places just like the east side all across this country, and that's a systemic problem, and we have to deal with that. And so that is my mission, and that's what I'm going to continue to do.
We appreciate all you have done and all you're going to do in the future. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much oh my God, Judge, I love you.
People from all walks of life came together at the memorial, including my friend, Rabbi Jonathan Fryrich of Voice Buffalo, who is a longtime activist in the community.
Rabbi, can you tell us about the organization that you're working with and have been working with here in this community?
Absolutely. So Voice Buffalo is a racial justice and equity organization led by Reverend Denise Walden Glenn. And Reverend Denise makes sure that we understand that nothing about us without us is for us. And that's how we approach organizing here on the east side of Buffalo and throughout Buffalo and Western New York. That we organize by working with people to find out each other's self-interests, and then to understanding that we have so much more power together than we do by ourselves, and that when we work together, we can bring real change to our communities.
And where are you located in this community? Not just in one place that you were telling me, but in several locations that are accessible to a lot of community members?
So Voice has been here on the east side for 3 days now. This is our third day. We've been providing spiritual company walks where we've been led by ministers and pastors of color. Those of us who are allies make sure we go with people of color and leaders and faith leaders of color. And in addition, we've had mental health professionals from the community in 4 different locations to provide support. We call them calming spaces, and so they've been staffed by volunteers from the community, mental health professionals, and spiritual leaders who are also mental health professionals. So in 4 locations, the Johnny B. Wiley Center down on Jefferson and Dodge, right up the street from them at the offices of Say Yes, right over there on Jefferson and Utica, the Meriwether Library, and then up on Ferry, the Resource Center for the community. So those 4 locations have been places where people can come when and if they're feeling overwhelmed by what's going on this day, because it's such a day of incredible trauma and impact for this community that has not recovered.
And is this going to be an ongoing, when this, particular celebration is over and all the attention is, lifted in some ways, will you still be working with these members of this community?
I only work with members of this community. I am here all the time. My office, while it's nominally at the Tri-Main building up the street, it's really right across the street there at Golden Cup. I spend a lot of time meeting people for coffee there. And we serve people by working with people. There's nothing about us without us is for us. And here on the east side of Buffalo, I'm guided by the words of Pastor George Nicholas, whom I'm sure you've met at Lincoln United Methodist. And what George Nicholas said to me a number of years ago, probably in 2017, in a meeting, he said to me and other white leaders, allies of faith, he said, "I am so tired of white people coming into my neighborhood and giving us solutions without ever hearing the lament." We cannot make any improvements for anyone. We can only make them together with one another.
We thank you so much for all the good work that you're doing. It was a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much.
Judge, thank you so much for all the good work you do. Thank you for talking to me.
Reverend Mark Blue is president of the NAACP in Buffalo and chaired the 514 Victims Fund. He offered comment on the mental health toll this tragedy has had for so many.
Could you tell us a little bit about how you're feeling after all that's happened in the last year?
Personally, I'm feeling a little numb still. I reflect back to my father's passing. It wasn't as horrific as what took place here. But when you're dealing with trauma, you're dealing with the mental and physical attributes of it, it triggers something that happened in all of our lives, which brings to reality what's happening currently. Everybody's dealing with what we call post-traumatic stress, but in our Jefferson community, it's current traumatic stress. It's not post. It's still active. It's still present. So we have to try to reach out and talk with everyone and share, because it's not just those who lost their lives, but it's the other survivors, the survivors in the store, the survivors of the families that have lost loved ones, the workers, the whole community. So I'm still numb. I'll say it this way, in a recovery type state. because everybody deals with it. My wife did not want to be here at all. She's not here because of what has happened, which I understand and I respect that. I respect even when families aren't showing up, that's fine, because everybody's going through in their own way. And you even have some family members that have not been on this spot because of what has happened. So it's everybody's dealing with their trauma. Everybody's dealing with some of the issues that have been underlined in their own lives. So it's a numbing effect.
Do you think that enough is being done to help the people who are grieving?
Yes and no, because we don't know everybody's situation or circumstance. We don't know all of what happened prior to, that's leading up to what they're going on. And I'm talking about prior to the massacre, prior to the shooting. So a lot of things have been compounded. I wish we had a magic wand to where we can cover all the ills and woes of everyone, but it's going to take time. Time is the factor that is going to help motivate the healing, promote the healing that we all need. So in the essence of time, things can happen. Jefferson community can be built back up, but it's going to take time. It's going to take investment, not just talking about investment, but real investment, access to those dollars that have been allotted in a tangible way and in a quick way for residents and businesses to take full advantage of everything that's been afforded to us.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
From religious and community leaders to prominent people who simply wanted to show their support. We caught up with Cheektowaga native William Fichtner, who has made his mark in Hollywood as an actor, but felt it was so important to be here on this day.
Hi, we're lucky enough to see the famous actor and famous Buffalonian, William Fichtner, right here, and we're going to have an opportunity to ask him how he feels about the whole idea of coming back to Buffalo during this really, really important time in the community's life.
Well, this was the place I wanted to be this weekend. So came back on Friday to be spent some time with the mayor yesterday at the outdoor celebration, and to be here today with my son and my wife. And I wanted to be back in Buffalo for this day.
And being, all over the country as you have been, probably all over the world, Buffalo has a special place in your heart, doesn't it?
Buffalo holds the best place in my heart. I wish I had $1 for every time I say when I get off the plane in Buffalo and I walk outside and I take that first breath of air, I'm like, okay, I'm home. Okay, I don't care if I lived in New York for 30 years, in LA for 17. This is always going to be home.
As we end this special edition of The Big Picture, we leave you with the sound of the Buffalo firefighters' bell that was rung 10 times in memory of those we lost. I'm Judge Penny Wolfgang. Thanks for watching. We will never forget those we lost and loved.